Hello student, good morning to everyone. Student, in last video we ends with this topic, that is the Rydberg equation, which gives the relation between the wave number, or we can say also we can find a wavelength, right? Then we also discussed about the value of n1 and n2 according to different series, that is for Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, Brackett and P fund. And I also discuss about the you know uh, the wavelength finding categories, like how can we find the minimum, how can we find the maximum wavelength, as well as what is the meaning of first line of wavelength, second line of wavelength, infinite line wavelength, right? And in all these situations, what are the values of n1 and n2 for every series, that we already did in our last video. Today I want to discuss with some numerical, and then I will start our next topic. So first of all, here is a question: calculate the kinetic energy of the ejected electron when ultraviolet radiation of frequency 1.6 into 10 power 15 per second strikes the surface of potassium metal. Threshold frequency of potassium is 5 into 10 power 14, okay, per second. So we have to calculate kinetic energy, and here both the frequency is given, threshold frequency as well as the normal frequency, which is required or which is the essential for the light. So here in the last video we discussed about that formula, right? That h nu is equal to h u naught plus ke. So from that formula we can write ke is equal to h nu minus h nu naught. Here h is constant, so we can take common, and hence it is h equal to nu minus nu naught. We have the value of both nu and nu naught. We just put in this particular formula, and we also put the value of h, that is for Planck's constant. And then after putting all these values, after solution, we are getting kinetic energy as 7.29 into 10 power minus 19 joule. So it's also a kind of numerical. So you can see here how that formula which we discussed in last video, that we are going to use. Student, in class 11 or 12 in the numerical section of chemistry, whenever we are going to find anything, any unknown one, that particular unknown is based on a simple formula, right? Whatever the formula we are going to taught in our different chapters, right? So from any chapters, any numerical is there, so mainly one of the question is, or one of the part is unknown, one term is unknown also, we can say, and rest all the things are given. We have to just arrange the things so we can find out easily. Student, many times I have a doubt from a student side that why I am not using the board, why I am not writing during my videos or in live classes also. So I want to clear this point also, because it's the time for the lecture is very less. If I am going to write each and everything, right, so it just takes some time, right? And also the communication is not going to be good in that situation. That's why I make all the things in a PPT format, so our time is going to be less consumed, and so I discuss each and everything. And here in that situation you can take the screenshot also, so it is easier, because when I am going to start, suppose writing, so after writing, yes, I am going to delete each and everything, but from the starting of the topic and to the end of the topic, the same thing is appeared in this on this screen. So in this way you can copy it clearly, right? You can click a screenshot, you can make notes also. So that's why I am using this one in this live classes as well as in my video lecture, right? So I hope you understood each and everything clearly, properly. It's not going to be make very complex things or very difficult things here. So now let us discuss another numerical, and then we start. So a 25-watt bulb emits monochromatic yellow light of wavelength 0.57 micrometer, that is the micrometer, mu is there. Calculate the rate of emission of quanta per second. So here energy of one photon we can calculate by using the formula E equal to h nu, and instead of nu we can write c upon lambda, because here wavelength is given, nu is not given, so we cannot find the value by using h nu. So Sc upon lambda, h, the value of h we know it is a constant 6.626 in 10 power minus 34. C is 3 into 10 power minus 10 power 8 meter per second. The speed of light which is fixed. Then lambda is 0.57 micrometer. So we have to convert into meter. So in 1 micrometer it is 10 power minus 6 meter. So we just multiply by 10 power minus 6 and we are getting the wavelength in terms of meter. Now we have all this data. We just put in the formula and then we find energy. And this is the energy of one photon, right? Okay. Now 25 watt means 25 joule per second. So therefore the number of photons emitted per second is total energy, we can say, emitted by the bulb upon the energy of one photon, that is 25 upon 3.487 into 10 power minus 19, and after calculation we are getting 7.17 into 10 power 19 per second, right? So in this way we can find the value. Let's see the next numerical. Student, this numerical is based on that Rydberg equation. Okay, that's why I want to discuss the point, because in last video we only discussed the formula and condition all, but we are not discussing any numerical. So here the first question is, what is the wavelength of light emitted when the electron in hydrogen atom undergoes transition from an energy level with n equal to 4 to an energy level with n equal to 2, and what is the color of the radiation, right? So here we have to find the wavelength. N is given. Student, always the lowest value is for the n1 and the largest value is for n2. So we just applied Rydberg equation, that is 1 by lambda equal to r into 1 upon n1 square in minus 1 upon n2 square. Okay, now here why we are not using Z, because it is for hydrogen atom. So for hydrogen Z is 1, so no need to mention the value of Z, or no need to mention Z in this formula. We just put all this value, you know, R is constant, its value is 109677 centimeter inverse, right? N1 2, N2 4, we just put all this value. Now we are getting 109677 into 12 upon 64 per centimeter, a centimeter inverse. It is for 1 by lambda, but we have to calculate lambda, so we just reciprocate it, and now it becomes 64 upon 109677 into 12. Now after solution we are getting 4.86 into 10 power minus 5 centimeter. Now we can convert into nanometer by changing the value of power, and it is 486 nanometer. This line corresponds to the bluish green color, and actually it is related to that color chart. Okay, from this Balmer series you can see, student, here the N1 is 2, so you can simply say that here it belongs to Balmer series, and Balmer series is the region of visible light. Okay student, so from that actually we are getting this color. Okay, so in this way we can find we can apply this N1 N2 and we can find wavelength. Let us see another example. In the Rydberg equation, a spectral line corresponds to N1 equal to 3 and N2 equal to 5. And now student, here N1 3, N2 5. Calculate the wavelength and frequency of this spectral line. So first we have to calculate wavelength. Student, just before solution I want to say something. See, in this previous question also we are finding wavelength. Same N1 N2 is given. So here also N1 N2 is given. You can simplify wavelength, and by applying the formula of C equal to nu lambda, we can find nu, that is equal to C upon lambda, and the speed of light, that is C, is constant, and we can simply find wavelength like the previous question, and then we can put all this value and find the frequency. The remaining questions are also there. To which spectral series does this line belongs? And third question, in which region of the electromagnetic spectrum will this line fall? Now we are going to discuss each and every question stepwise. So first we are going to find wavelength. So in the same pattern we just apply Rydberg equation, 1 by lambda equal to r into 1 by n1 square minus n2 square, n1 3, n2 5. We put all this value. After solution we are getting lambda is 1282 nanometer, 1282 nanometer, and then by applying the formula C equal to nu lambda, nu equal to C by lambda, C is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, and after putting all these values, see student, here C is in meter per second, so we have to change the unit of wavelength, that is from nanometer to meter. So 1 nanometer is equal to 10 power minus 9. Then after putting all these value, after calculation we are getting nu equal to 2.34 into 10 power 14 per second. Now since this line corresponds to n2, n1, not n2 here there is a mistake in this solution, means the printing mistake. n1 is 3, you can see here n1 is 3, so it belongs to past tense series, right? And if it is a past tense series, so you know past tense bracket different, all these three series belongs to infrared region. So in this way we can solve our question. That kind of question is possible on the basis of Rydberg equation. So I hope the formula of Rydberg, the application of Rydberg equation is clear to all of you, right? And similarly student, for any series, if any direct question is there, so we can apply this equation for finding the wavelength of first line, second line, third line, infinite line, in this way, just by changing the value of n1 and n2. So this is the end with the topic of this Rydberg equation. Now I am going to start the topic Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. Bohr's model. Student, this concept you also did in class 9th, right? Once again we are going to discuss the point Bohr's model for hydrogen atom. So what are the points or the postulate of Bohr's? Let us first discuss this point. The first one is, in a hydrogen atom the electron is revolving around the nucleus in a well defined circular path of fixed radius and energy. The circular path is known as orbit, and the corresponding energy state of the electron is called stationary orbit state. Second, the energy of an electron in its orbit does not change in its own with time. That means the energy of electron in its orbit is fixed, right? It do not change. Now when a required amount of energy is supplied to an electron, it absorbs the same in fixed amount of bundles called quanta and jumps to higher stationary state called excited state. Means suppose 1, 2, 3, 4 these orbits are given, it is totally actually 7. Student, this up to 4 you already studied in class 9th also. So and this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are also named as KLMNOP Q, right? And we never end, so after 7 period also, 7 orbit also we mention the dot. It shows that after that can be also possible, because till 7th the electrons are arranged, the elements are already fulfilled. That we are going to discuss in periodic classification of elements, where in live classes our colleague, our new chemistry teacher also started that particular chapter, so where you can see the application of this orbit, the configuration part and all, if it is required. And in this chapter also, after the starting of that quantum numbers, where we see how can we arrange the electron in different orbits. So let us first discuss all these orbits and all, right? And then we go to that particular area where we discuss about the configuration and all. So mainly the electron, the energy of electron in the individual orbit is fixed, right? We cannot change this particular energy, right? But when we supplied some energy, then electron absorb energy and jumps to the next level, that is called excited state. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. Now this energy we can calculate with the help of the formula delta is equal to E2 minus E1, that is the total energy. Please remember that the electronic energy in a particular energy state, also called energy level, is stationary, but the electron is not stationary. Once again, remember that the electronic energy in a particular energy state, also called energy level, is stationary, but the electron is not stationary. Fourth point is the different energy level or energy cells for the electrons are designed as K, L, M, N, O, dot dot etc., or as 1, 2, 3, 4, dot 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 etc. Only those energy orbits are permitted for the electron in which the angular momentum of the electron is a whole number multiple of h upon 2 pi. That is, angular momentum of electron is mvr. You also studied this point in physics also, what is that angular momentum, and according to that above statement, it is a whole number multiple of h upon 2 pi, that is equal to nh upon 2 pi, and here n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So once again, the last point, one, only those energy orbits are permitted for the electron in which the angular momentum of the electron is a whole number multiple of h upon 2 pi. So now in this formula, in MBR equal to nh upon 2 pi, this MBR is called angular momentum. Here m is the mass of electron, right? B is the tangential velocity of the revolving electron. R is the ratio of the orbit in which electron revolves. H, we know very well, it is a Planck's constant, and n is an integer. Thus the angular momentum of electron can be calculated. Now after this particular all these postulate, what are the limitations of Bohr's model also? So Bohr's model was quite successful to explain the atomic spectrum of hydrogen atom and many other electron species like He plus and Li2 plus ions. It is also enabled to calculate the energy of hydrogen electron in the different energy levels. However, the theory suffered from certain limitations which are described as follows. Number one, the theory could not explain the atomic spectra of the atoms containing more than one electron or multi-electrons atoms. So more than one or multi-electron is there, then it cannot be explained. Okay. Now Bohr's theory predicts only one spectral line for the electronic transition between two energy levels. However, if you examine carefully, certain single lines are found to contain a number of finer lines. Bohr's theory failed to explain the structure of the spectral line. Now in the formation of line spectrum, when the source emitting this radiation is subjected to the influence of magnetic or electric field, each spectral line is found to split into a number of lines. So when these lines are or emitting this radiation subject to influence of either in the magnetic or electric field, so this spectral line is found to split into a number of lines. Okay, so the splitting of these lines in the magnetic field is known as Zeeman effect, and in the electric field is called Stark effect. So students, these are, we can say, one of a kind of definition type topic. Okay, now Bohr's theory could not offer any satisfactory explanation for these effects. So similarly, next, so here 4, 5, 6, 5 drawbacks or limitations are given students. Students, this it makes a theoretical data also for you. Theoretical type question is also for you. Write 1 or 2 limitations of Bohr's model. So you can write any point from here. Okay, let us discuss the 4th and 5th point. Bohr's theory failed to explain the shape of molecules formed by the combination of the atom. So we cannot explain the shape of molecule by using the Bohr's model. And last, the serious blow to Bohr's theory came from certain new principles such as de Broglie relationship and Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So according to Bohr's theory, an electron follows a fixed circular path with definite energy, and thus both its position and direction can be well defined. However, this principle stated that the path of the electron is not definite. It is of probable nature. Moreover, an electron has both wave and particle nature according to this. Okay, student. So today I completed my topic to the limitation of Bohr's model, right? So we discussed about what are the postulate of Bohr's model, limitation of Bohr's model, and we completed some numerical here, right? Okay, let us finish just one more topic, dual behavior of matter, that is the de Broglie equation, and then I am going to end my video. So de Broglie actually give a dual behavior of light by using the concept of both Planck and Einstein. So according to, and he gave the equation that lambda equal to h upon mv, and this equation is called de Broglie equation. So let us see how de Broglie derived this equation. So according to Planck's theory, E equal to h nu, that is equal to hc upon lambda, and according to Einstein equation, mass slowly changes to energy when light falls on it, so E equal to mc square. So we are getting two equations, 1 and 2 for energy, and by comparing these two equations we get sc upon lambda is equal to mc square. So then lambda equal to sc upon mc square, and then we are getting, by cancelling c, we are getting lambda equal to h upon mc. Now here c is the velocity of light or of electromagnetic radiation, and if v is the velocity of a moving material object, then the relationship may be given as lambda is equal to h upon mv, and which is equal to h upon p, because we know very well where mv is the p, that is the momentum of moving particles, and since h, that is the Planck's constant, has a constant value, therefore we can also write lambda proportional to 1 by p, or wave nature proportional to 1 upon particle nature. So thus we conclude that the wave and particle nature of moving material objects are inversely proportional to each other. Okay, and then we have the next topic, that is the relation between kinetic energy and de Broglie wavelength. So kinetic energy equal to half mv square. From here we can write 2m equal to half mv square into 2m, that means we multiply by 2m in both the side, then we are getting 2m is equal to m square v square, or mv equal to square root of 2me, and according to de Broglie wavelength h of lambda equal to h upon mv, so we can put h upon 2me to the power 1 by 2 instead of mv. So once again, from comparing equation 1 and 2, we are getting sc upon lambda equal to mc square, then we are getting lambda equal to h upon mc, and if v is the velocity of a moving particle or material object, then relationship may be given as lambda equal to h upon mv, and we know very well mv is a momentum, so we can write lambda equal to h upon p. This lambda equal to h upon p or lambda equal to h upon mv is called the mathematical equation or equation of de Broglie concept or de Broglie equation, right? And from that equation we can write lambda proportional to 1 by p, or wave nature proportional to 1 upon particle nature. So it shows that wave nature and particle natures of the moving material objects are inversely proportional to each other. And then we are having a relation with the kinetic energy and de Broglie wavelength. So just calculating this kinetic energy, that is equal to half mv square, then 2m is equal to half mv square into 2m. Just we multiply 2m in both the side, we are getting m square v square is equal to 2me, or mv equal to 2me to the power 1 by 2. That means it is a square root of 2me, and then we can put the value of mv in the de Broglie wavelength form, that is lambda equal to hmv, and we are getting h upon 2m to the power 1 by 2. Okay, so today I am going to end with this topic, and in my next video I am going to start with the numericals based on this, right? Thank you, and if you have any queries you can ask me.